Hello, everyone. It is 11 o'clock, and it is time for the premiere edition of the weekly marketing show by Teevee, the Marketer. I'm Teevee. I'm going to wait a couple more minutes, see if some people come in. And if not, we will continue with the show because regardless of how it turns out, how many people are actually in attendance, I will do the show and share information because I'll grab this piece of content and advertise to it and promote it. Because what I'm going to do with this show, and what you can expect with this show, is one, that I will do it weekly, every Tuesday at 11 o'clock, unless things outside of my control hit me in the face. But that's one. You can expect it weekly. Two, that you will receive information that's relevant and current for any small business, local business looking to market their business and grow in awareness, attention, grow their audience, grow in terms of expertise and people believing that they are the expert that they should be and are, to turn that market and that audience into clients, and to share. I will be sharing information that will help you do that. I'll share tips, tricks that will help you grow your audience and turn them into clients. Other stuff you can expect around that is things that are happening with Facebook, current events, policy changes, things, as well as YouTube. In fact, I got something on YouTube on deck that we're going to talk about. Yes, sorry, I was making sure the microphone was still working. I got something on YouTube. Things to consider as it relates to anything else in your marketing. Things to consider on your website that you may not have in place. This is what you can expect from the show moving forward. And I will also, for anyone that wants to send me a question, I'll answer it on air. Or you can tune in live, ask me, and I'll answer whatever you want me to ask. Whatever you want to ask, rather. Just send me your information. Send me your questions, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. And if I don't know right away, I will find out for you. And yeah, that's it. So the first topic of the day I want to talk about is podcasts. Read an article yesterday about the value of podcasts, and a lot of people listen to them. They're growing in popularity. Google has their own podcasting platform. It's even on Spotify. Spotify has it. SoundCloud is doing their thing. So it's becoming more and more popular, and people have been doing them. It's been growing in terms of actually people doing them. I think there's several million on Apple, the iTunes store right now. The podcast, is it a store? In the podcast channel within iTunes. So it's growing in popularity, and it's going to grow even more. And the value and the reason that I bring this up is because I had one, and the reason it's even more popular, I'm trying to get to it, sorry, is because Google has said in the past that we're going to start indexing the podcast. Before, you couldn't do that. What I mean by that is, by indexing them is that they will actually show up in the results for relevant terms. And in the past, they had talked that they were going to do that, but I guess they didn't have the technology ready, the AI spider to be able to, the tech to be able to listen to the podcast and be able to know that it's about a relevant topic for a given search term. So that's powerful. They're already starting to, the results for podcasts are starting to show in the results much more. And that got me thinking, like, I need to revive my podcast. I love doing them, but it's really, really tedious. So what if I use the audio from this show as a podcast? So this is what you can expect to happen out of this. I'm going to rip the audio from this show, post it to the podcast, post it as a podcast, which you will be able to find on the iTunes, Apple Podcasts. You'll be able to find it on Google as well as Spotify. And that's fantastic, right? That is the ability to grab a piece of content. I'm shooting this right now. To grab a piece of content and repurpose it. And that is a big lesson that we all need to take into consideration, is that once you create something, it can live in other formats, especially if you do video. You can grab, obviously you got this video that I'm doing right now. I'm going to upload it to YouTube as another piece of content. So that way, if somebody's searching on YouTube, or perhaps it will get indexed within Google for any given terms that I talk about, any given keywords, it'll show up in YouTube. That's a piece of content. I'm grabbing the audio for the podcast. That's a piece of content. And because it's being indexed within Google, I have a photographer here. Because it's being indexed within Google, the likelihood of it eventually coming up in the results for, let's say, Facebook ad agency in Dallas, or Facebook ad agency, YouTube advertising for small business, I will come up a lot, hopefully come up through the course of time as I produce more and more content, because Google will be able to index it. Also, other content that you can grab from this is maybe you say something that's very quotable. Grab an image of yourself, or create an image of that quote. You see quotes all the time, and they work really, really well because you're able to encapsulate in that line, in that quote that you may have spit out, something valuable that people could use, could benefit from. So that's like 4 pieces of content right there. So podcasts, if you're not doing them, maybe consider it. It's involved, but maybe you're doing a show of some sort. Maybe you're doing a Facebook Live. Grab that audio, throw it on the podcast store, throw it on iTunes, throw it on Spotify. It's just another channel. So some people may not be willing to listen to me right now for 30 minutes live or in a video, but they love podcasts. And if there's enough value given here, they'll subscribe. So go subscribe to my podcast. Go subscribe to my podcast. Anyways, that's number 1. I want to make sure to throw that out there. Something to consider as we move into 2020 with Google making podcast indexing podcasts much more. All right, so that's number 1. And number 2 actually was repurposing content. I already spoke about that. Make sure to keep that in mind. It's kind of tough. I find it tough to create content even for myself over the past few years, which is the reason I'm doing this. I thought about this last week as I was posting the last video on what it was, the topic of it. Short videos could be hurting yourselves. As I was posting that video, it occurred to me that I should be doing something weekly. And it forced me, I actually scheduled it and I threw it out there, forced me to put this together, to actually schedule it, forced me to show up, because it's something that I really enjoy doing. I do enjoy talking, as you can tell. I can talk a lot, and I have a lot to say about a lot of topics. I stay alert on what's going on because it's in the best interest of myself and my clients. So why not share that? Why let it stay up here? This forces me to do that, and then realizing that I can then grab content out of here, it became even a much simpler decision to make. I actually, last night I throw a party. I have a dance community that is a passion project that I'm working on. I'm growing a dance community, and I stayed up late actually last night. And people were giving me a hard time about leaving early because I had to make sure to get some sleep, be rested, so I can set up everything and be present, because I did not want to cancel or reschedule because I'm too tired. This will go on. The show will go on. All right, next topic. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, all the good stuff, right? It's that time of year, and if you are advertising, it's going to get more expensive, hopefully not too much more expensive, during this time of year. During this time of year, it's much more expensive to advertise. I say much more. It's more expensive to advertise. It's all relative. Because there's just so many businesses jumping into the fray. Some of the big brands are spending a lot more on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, because we have more eyeballs, even more so than usual. And a lot of people with the buying intent in mind already. They have the intention of buying. They just need the right offers. They need opportunities. They need the right sales. So you can expect that if you're actually advertising right now, for the expenses to rise, because it's an auction. As more people jump into the auction for that view, that impression, then cost will be driven up. It's only mathematics, I suppose. So keep that in mind. A key takeaway for me is make sure that you're just giving good value, delivering something entertaining, informational, and your audience. I guess a bigger lesson still. Let's drag it back out to previous leading up to right now, you should be developing an audience throughout the year. And herein lies a video I want to create sometime in the near future around creating and developing an audience, investing in it leading up to a big time of the year. Nonprofits tend to, like, I think today is Giving Tuesday. So today's Giving Tuesday, for example, and a lot of nonprofits are asking people to donate because on today there's an organization that matches a given amount. So if you donate $1, somebody will match like 50 cents or $1, something to that effect. So it's a good day to give because your dollar will go further. What happens with a lot of nonprofits, and the point of this entire topic is that we tend to wait till that day that we need something to ask for it. And then our audience, if we have one, if we have a lot of likes on our page, if we have an audience of some sort, we haven't engaged with them actively throughout the previous 6 months, 8 months, or a year. That at that point in time when you need it, well, they're not engaged. And right now, if they're not engaged, the only way you're going to get in front of them is going to by advertising and spending money. Well, right now, because of what I just said a moment ago, costs are going to be higher. So the lesson is work on entertaining, giving information, engaging with your audience, and developing them throughout the year. Don't wait until you need something. Don't wait until the end of the year to advertise, and then your dollar may not go as far. It's still gonna reach people. Don't get me wrong. It will reach people. I'm advertising right now. It's not a big deal. But if you only have a set budget, you will reach fewer people. So work on actively engaging with people, creating content that's relevant, entertaining, educational, informational. Work on that throughout the year. So you're not fretting later, or if you're a nonprofit and you're looking to raise funds, when you throw that piece of content out there or that ask to your audience, there are actually people out there waiting for that message. And like, oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for the cause that you're into. They're going to donate and they're paying attention. So that's the lesson. Yeah, I'll leave it at that because I can talk about this at length. I have a really long, I have a video I want to produce around this to drive the point home. But hopefully you got the point. Yes? All right. Next up, what do we have? YouTube. So I mentioned this a second ago. If you have a YouTube channel, a YouTube account, and you post videos, and maybe you haven't logged in recently, I suggest you go log into your account now because there's a message waiting for you. YouTube has been under fire with the FCC for child videos of children videos. They've been trying to work with the FCC at trying to limit the abuse of children in videos or targeting children. So if you have videos that target children, maybe you have a kid channel unpacking things, that's a thing, or slime videos. If you're using a child and you're trying to target children, they want to know because they want to make sure that you stay within regulation. There's I think they're called the Child Protection COPPA, COPPA law of some sort. I'm not completely familiar with it. I just know that it's very important, and fines can be really, really steep if you are trying to target children and you're doing so in an unethical and against the rules that are in place by the FCC. So if you log into your YouTube channel, you have to check off whether it's for children, not for children. And all my channels and all the ones I manage for my clients are not targeted at children. They're all businesses like roofers, attorneys, dentists, that kind of thing. So they're not targeting children. They're obviously targeting adults. And there's no children in the videos. So I don't know if you know, but there's been a lot of scandals around the use of children and trying to manipulate situations, use children as props, and then also targeting children. Because technically, children aren't even supposed to be on YouTube. You have to be within, I think, 13, 15. I think that's the minimum age for being on YouTube. So the fact that there's YouTube videos that are kids unpacking or doing that kind of thing, obviously they're targeting the children. So now there's this gray area or black area, gray area where people obviously are targeting the children, and that's against the law. You're not supposed to. Or there's ways that you're supposed to work around it because children are impressionable, and we shouldn't be doing that. That's bad. But there's channels that are massive and earn a ton of money because they are obviously targeted at children. So go check your YouTube channel out. Make sure to check all you need to. They'll walk you through the process and let you know what you should and shouldn't be doing. While we're on the topic of YouTube, I wanted to share a quick story that a revelation of sorts over the last 2 years. I come to realize, and my daughter actually pointed it out. She's like, "Daddy, you're on YouTube a lot." I am. And I guess I didn't realize the full power of YouTube. I underestimated their value in terms of what can be done as a marketer, as a brand, at cultivating an audience, and the audience that is available out there. It's massive. And also the value that's delivered because there's so many channels, almost for anything you can imagine. I totally underestimated how many people are on there every single day consuming. And then once I got in there and really started taking notice, I realized that I'm in there almost as much as I'm watching the TV, because there's channels dedicated to all my passions, whether it be dance, art, photography, videography. I think my kid just burped or something back here. Videography. There's all these channels dedicated to that. There's channels dedicated to any mild interest I may have. So with that means that there's questions that we as individuals have every single day, and these channels are dedicated to answering those questions. So in the last 6 months or so, well, actually about a couple years, I decided to want to focus more on it, but it's been a little challenging because it's a different audience, it's a different way of approaching it. But if you haven't done so already, look at creating a YouTube channel. There's a lot of people on there that are searching every single day for someone to solve their problem, to answer the question that they have in their head. If you're answering that question, you will then be the expert in your field. So one of the things I'm focusing more on this year is promoting and advertising on there, posting content on there that's relevant to my market, because the audience is there. And on top of that, I mean, even like as in terms of advertising, let me explain how that works. So perhaps someone is like, I do dance. I told you I promote dance events. I'm trying to grow a dance community. So I realized that there's a massive audience that's on there watching these dance videos. Why don't I put a video in there, in-stream ad, before these videos, and then bring more people into the market, into the community? You could do that as well for yourself. If someone is searching around car parts, then, or how to fix their car, then, they have a car, you can possibly, if you're in the insurance industry, advertise to anyone that's watching videos around car repair. Although if you pull that back a little bit, you can just advertise to the entire city within a given area and share your information, share a piece of content about how you're able to help them, perhaps how you've helped others. Doing that on YouTube to the entire city can be done effectively and affordably compared to TV. But in my previous example, it's just a way to niche even more. YouTube is incredibly powerful. It's untapped in terms of how much availability. What's the word I'm looking for? Give me a second. How much inventory of videos they have. They have so much content is being posted on YouTube every single day that they're not haven't been monetized, or there's no videos in front of them, enough videos, ads in front of them. This is happening every single day because there's just such a huge inventory of videos being posted. For them, that's just more opportunities for ads to be placed, for you to be placed in front of them. Completely untapped. And then there's the content side. If you're actually answering questions that people are asking for, your YouTube videos can be found for those terms. YouTube is the #2 searched number 2 search engine in the market. They're behind Google. So think about that. That's fantastic and a great opportunity for you to show up. Next. Oh, that's about it for the day. Nobody asked any questions, and I'll keep it short. 20 minutes. Not too bad at all. My name is Teevee the Marketer. You can find me at teeveethemarketer.com. If you need any help with your marketing, if you just want to have a conversation about what you are doing with your marketing, feel free to reach out, message me here on the page, visit teeveethemarketer.com, check out what I'm doing. Would love to talk to you. Find me on YouTube, find me on Instagram at Teevee the Marketer is my handle. I would love to talk to you. Love to know what you're doing and see how we may be able to work together and share some ideas. I think that's it for now. Have a marvelous day, and until next week, bye-bye. How do I end this thing? Oh, there's the button. It hides the button. And then it asks you twice.